Hi, this is Rachel from the Dotting Center. Today I'm going to show you how to create this 12-inch Torus dot mandala painting. I'm going to share with you things about paint, dotting tools, stencils, chalk pencils. In fact, I'm going to show you how to create shiny, bubbly, dimensional dots in all different forms using all different kinds of tools. We'll do interesting shapes like drops and swooshes and sloth claws and curved swooshes, and then we'll put them all together to create flourishes and other decorative elements. This video tutorial corresponds with a PDF pattern that's available for instant download at the Dotting Center on Etsy. The link is included in the notes below, so if you're anything like me and cannot wait another second to get started on this project, go ahead and download it, print it on some pretty cardstock, and let's get dotting. This is part one of a three-part series showing how to do this painting. Now, as with every dotting project that I do, I am starting with a stencil. And in this case, I have a 12-inch canvas, so I'm using my 11-inch Torus stencil. But don't get me wrong, you can still use a compass and do all the math and find the hypotenuse of things and be all mathy. But if you want a quick and easy starting point, a stencil will work every time. And this one's great because it's a reversible stencil. So you trace one side and then you flip it over and trace the other side to complete the design. It's that easy. So for this project, I'm using ARTEZA heavy body acrylic paints. They were kind enough to send me a set of 60 different colors, and they just wanted to see what I thought, and I tried it out and I was impressed. I love the shine and the consistency of the paint. However, you do have to use pouring medium to get the consistency right. So it's not a great paint if you're a beginning dotter and you're not really sure what consistency you need. It's probably better just to get liquid acrylics that come straight out of the tube in the right consistency. But the first thing I did was I swatched out all the colors because honestly this is the first full set of paints that I've ever had, and I loved being able to see the different transparencies and the different hues and saturation levels of different paints. It was a real learning experience, and if you haven't ever had a full set, you might want to try it. So in order to get these heavy body acrylics into the right consistency for dotting, there are a couple of steps. First, you can see straight out of the tube, it is a very thick, buttery consistency of paint, and there are spikes, which you don't want, well, I don't want in this project. I want to have still some body to the dots. I want them to be thick and shiny, but I don't want them to have any kind of peaks. So I take one part of the acrylic paint, one part of Liquitex pouring medium, and I mix them together and they create this kind of bechamel sauce consistency. I don't know how to describe it without using food terms, but it's basically like a smoother, more liquid consistency. So one of the things I learned with this set is to pay attention to the symbols that they use on the labels. Now this one is a square with half of it filled, and so that means that it's semi-transparent, and you can see by the swatch that the black will show through on a semi-transparent paint. So if you look at the, let's see, the lemon yellow, it's half filled, so that's also semi-transparent, and you can see that one, you can really see the black showing through. Now yellow ochre is a completely filled square on the label. So what that means is it's an opaque paint, which you can see it definitely has more opacity than the one above it, which is transparent, and the one right here, those are both semi-transparent. So when you're working with a dark base coat, you want to make sure that your paint is going to hold up. So you just add a little bit of titanium white, and that will boost the opacity of your transparent paints, making them perfectly fine to paint on black. Now, ultramarine is a beautiful color. It shows, the symbol shows that it's transparent, and if you look on the swatch, it's pretty much black on black, but look at how beautiful it is on white. Part of the beauty of this color is that it is transparent, and you know, you can use it with light backgrounds, but again, add white to make it work on black. So that's what I'm going to do next. Oh, this is my favorite color. This is emerald green. This is so pretty. So this is the consistency. I'm going to show you up close what it's supposed to look like. It's like a bechamel sauce, almost. Okay, so here is the 12-inch canvas. I've already prepped it with the Torus design, and you can use a ruler or you can use one of my 16-line stencils that you can get at the dotting center. So for the center dot, I'm going to use this 1/2-inch dotting rod, and I'm just going to stamp a big gold dot right in the center. So the trick with this is just to line it up as close as possible to the inside section of that crosshair registration mark. It also helps to have a really fluid, self-leveling acrylic paint for that center dot so it doesn't peak and look weird. So what I'm doing here is just wiping off all the excess chalk on the inside section, just because sometimes those little particles of chalk can subtly interfere with how the paint adheres to the canvas. So I just wipe that off so it doesn't give me any kind of funny dots. So the very first row, we're going to put in some yellow dots, and I'm just going to put them in between the two lines that I drew from my 16-line stencil. And you can see here just how much paint I put on the end of each rod. It's quite a bit, but you can do that with this paint. It's nice and thick, so you can have thicker dots. So the next shapes I'm going to do are petal shapes using a rod and a stylus tool. And basically you just plop down a dot, take your stylus tool and drag out the paint so that it forms a petal shape. So this is actual real-time speed of dotting, and a lot of people ask me, how in the world do you have the patience to spend all this time dotting like this so slowly? And I gotta say, I enjoy the process. It's very meditative and calming for me, and it's part of my enjoyment is the slow, methodical, focused painting. I really enjoy the process. Uh-oh, that one got away from me. So I just grab a silicone tool and remove the paint that I don't like and just keep moving on. So now I'm going to add a row of white dots in between those yellow petals using a stylus tool. Adding yellow dots. Okay, so for this step, I'm just going to add yellow, 2 shades of yellow surrounding those yellow drop shapes. And I'm just going to use 3. I start with the largest dot and then move out to the 2 side dots because they require less paint. Okay, so for this part I decided, maybe I'll put some lines going out from the center using my flat silicone tool, and I looked at it and I was like, nah, I don't like them. So I scraped them off with the same tool and decided to put some gold dots in instead, nice big ones. So now we're filling in those little empty spaces with some ochre dots. Now you may notice that sometimes I have 2 dots, sometimes I have 3 dots. It just took me a couple of petals to realize what would fit. But if you're using the PDF download printed pattern, everything is going to be symmetrical on your printout because, you know, computers are cool like that. So now we're going to walk the dots around those big gold dots using that ochre color. And the trick with this is just to get the first large dot right in the center and then don't reload your stylus. Just let the paint lessen on the tip of your stylus so that the dots just naturally get smaller. So at this point, I'm like, okay, I'm going to use my drop shapes. I'm going to go in there with my stylus tool and it's all going to be cool. And I just wasn't liking the way that was looking, so I took my flat silicone tool and I just wiped them out, got rid of them, used a Q-tip with water and got rid of as much paint as I could, and then painted over the excess with some of my base black. So now I'm going to fill the end of these petals with ochre dots. And I'm going to come in with the stylus in the end and just fill in all the extra spaces. Okay, so here is an exciting bit. This is when you transition from one color into another one, and it's yellow and blue. They just do something together and it's magic. It adds so much interest. And what I'm doing here is I'm showing how to make a drop shape using a rod and a stylus tool. And the trick with this is, first of all, consistency of your paint is super key. If you don't have that kind of thick consistency, it's not going to work. And you have to have a big old blob of paint in order for it to drag far enough. These definitely take practice, which is why if you have the PDF pattern, it's always a good idea to practice on paper first. And it helps to have the shapes available so that you can fill the shape with the drop before you go and put it on the canvas. Okay, so we got the center part of our mandala completed. So this is a great place to stop and transition to part 2. Don't forget that there's a PDF pattern that you can download if you'd like at the Dotting Center. Hey, don't forget to like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, part 2.